Well, hello people, and welcome to Noveria. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I thought today we would revisit the snowy tundras of Noveria to build a mountain village district using the new content creator pack that came out recently, and I thought there's no better setting than the frozen tundras of the Noveria landscape. So let's return to a very old fan favourite, shall we, and see how the mountain village settles into the snow. So welcome back to the snowy vistas of Noveria, everyone. It's always a pleasure to be back here, isn't it? And if you didn't know, the airport DLC concourse terminal things are black in Snowfall maps. We came back here a few years ago to rebuild Noveria's airport into this very suave little complex, which is very noir, isn't it? Very nice indeed. However, as I mentioned in the start of the video, today we're going to be building a mountain village, and I thought there's no better setting than the areas next to the Noveria ski slopes. Of course, one of my favourite builds in the whole city here. We've also got a snowman coven up at the top as well, which is classic Noveria, that, isn't it? Throwback to times gone by, I suppose. Either way, I think next door to this, we did have some ski lodges here, but I thought we'd rip them all out. Begin to expand a mountain village on the hillside next to our spa hotel. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's come into our unique buildings, of course, filtering from mountain village, and we'll probably use most of these buildings today. So let's get started with our first one. So I'm yet to place these in these Snowfall maps, and I'm very keen to see what they look like. Let's have a look, shall we? I think it's safe to argue they look even better, don't they? They're kind of really built for a snowy alpine setting. Look at that. Let's please, everyone. So we'll have that in there. That's going to be our first one in. I don't just want them all sat up against the road. So we'll see if we can develop perhaps a little bit of a town centre around these. So let's grab ourselves our dirt road. So I would like to have a little bit of non-insane buildable space. So I'm going to do a little bit of terraforming here. So come on to our highest strengths, and we'll have this one here. So as you come past the avalanche lodge, because we can take out all these roads as well. And we'll just reform the mountain to be a little bit more of a sensible shape. Don't want total flatness. We will do some layers throughout here, but just while we have the town centre, I suppose, and we can just play with the terrain to be a little bit more friendly, I think. Something like that, just so we've got a wider space. Also be happy to have some cliffs present in the town as well. Now let's go ahead and clear away the trees there. Super. So I think I probably would like some actual concrete roads. We'll definitely use dirt roads at some point, but some concrete would be welcome. So let's have this grass line road, which is snow lined in the Snowfall maps, running up the hill. Budge you over touch, so we can get the upgrade in. There we go. And then let's begin to form some relatively kind of European-esque road networks here. I don't want too much grid. Try and get some different angles in so we can play with different ideas. Cool. So that'll give us something. So in terms of actually kind of forming the town centre around, let's definitely get some service assets in here. So we'll have the healthcare facility here. We'll also grab the fire station as well. We'll have this across the road. And then we'll get the police station, which we can have maybe just next door but one here. And let's also throw down some car parking, which I'm actually not sure what the vanilla car parks look like in Snowfall. I'm going to take a wild guess and say covered in the whitest of snows, as like everything is in these maps. And then let's bring up a little pathway through here. Something like this. We use the nature reserve pathways. A bit more of a mountain vibe, isn't it? Now let's pack in some trees. Of course, I don't think we've placed the content creator trees in, have we? The palms look extremely weird, as you would imagine, on top a snowy mountain. The cottonwoods are nice. The vanilla kind of pine trees tend to be, I think, more appropriate for Snowfall. But if you haven't seen this playlist, by the way, it is linked down below if you want to come see the absolute behemoth of a city that Noveria is. It's a grand old size vanilla Snowfall build. Lots of fun ideas here. I would advise wearing sunglasses for the majority of the series, though. It is never-ending whiteness. Cool. So let's have a look at these service buildings in the snow. Oh, they even get the little snow up in the window as well. Isn't that wonderful? Very nice. Really cute. Love the little kind of depth layer of snow you can see on the roofs. It's very tasteful, that, isn't it? Very nice. So that's our service buildings down. Let's go ahead and throw in another hotel. We'll do... Do I have... Must have unlimited placement of unit buildings on. But that's okay. I don't particularly mind. We'll have that one there. I wouldn't mind one kind of tucked onto this cliffside here. Although we'll probably have to do some harsher terraforming for this. So we can bring this down. Let's do road length and angle. Something like that. And then what can we place in this point here? Maybe that one. How is that going to play with the terrain? You're going to get that second layer actually very close to the road. I want to try respect the topography as much as possible here today. I don't want to do too much terraforming for what is supposed to be on a mountain. But that's actually not too bad. It kind of looks a bit built into the cliff, doesn't it? You're going to get a little bit of depth there as well in this second row. Some windows are slightly obscured, but I won't tell if you won't. Cool, very nice. We'll have this one here, the Creek Lodge. Moving along, we have the Hotel Alder. Now, I love the angle on this one, so what I'd love to do is try and bring across a little road here. Then can we delete that? And then have this one kind of at an angle. Don't think I'm going to be averse to it. Let's carry on our road up this way. Let's also do a touch more terraforming work here, just to lead into this. You can push this back a little bit. We'll do a little bit more terraforming work so all this mental terraforming doesn't look as man-made. But either way, we'll keep pressing onwards into the mountain as the build progresses. You can wrap around, go up that way. We'll carry on climbing. Bring a road around the back of this building here. Let's get some trees tucked in behind there as well, shall we? I think we can always hide a lot of the nastier terrain work with trees and rocks and whatnot. Did we get the birch in this map? We do. Which is nice, actually. I really like the cottonwoods and the birches in the Snowfall theme. Fortunately, a lot of the content creator trees, they don't maintain any green at all. It is. Every single leaf is covered in snow. How about the jacaranda? Again, it's all white, isn't it? It's all white. I don't know what I'm expecting. I know the answer is going to be white. It always is. Okay, let's pop down to the mountain lake here and see what we think so far. They're very nice in the snow, aren't they? Yeah, they really belong. Of course, they're even nicer next door to a ski slope as well, don't they? Fantastic. Really nice. I also think that these assets would pair really nice with some of the hotels. If we dare to look. Let's come into our hotels menu. Now there's a few here, isn't there? There's the mountain lodge itself. Which looks really sweet, actually. How about we try row this one up on an angle. Let's delete this little bit of road here. I'd like this one to essentially come out from here. Let's just terraform that bit of land out to the same height as the road. Something like that. And then if we do angle like this, and then do that, delete the holding road, and then we can just bring in, maybe do a bit of a tree-lined road here, actually, up to the mountain lodge. That will maintain its connection. It probably won't be overly happy with its values, because it does want, for some ridiculous reason, shopping and office space around it, despite the fact it's a mountain lodge, but I won't begin ranting about the hotel's mechanic. I've made my thoughts very clear on that over the years it's been out. Cool, yeah, let's keep chipping away at the mountain. Let's try and kind of move up another layer here if we can. Too much soil, let's sell a little bit. I'd love to extend that pathway up to the next kind of road layer, if you like, wherever that ends up being. Back to our unit buildings, we have the Hotel Blue Peak, which I'd like to maybe bring out on a road. I want to try and make sure we get a few different angles in here today. Now, I suppose it wouldn't also be tremendously averse to a little bit of European zone in here. I don't know how it's going to work, but we'll try it. So let's go European, and then we'll bring in some high density commercial. So let's just try it there, for example. See if that grows in. And just try and mix and match some of those more awkward European buildings to feature as part of the town. Totally experimental. It might end up looking horrendous, but we'll let it grow. Let's get another hotel in right there. I'm happy with that one. Is there any other hotels that actually would work well here? Probably the mountain. There's like a log cabin, isn't there? Yeah, the rental cabin here. Might look pretty tasty. Yeah, I think that's very much at home, isn't it? This one's much more easier to satisfy its demands. But I like that. Yeah, I like this building here on the hill as well. It does get a bit of foundation exposure, I suppose, but I'm not averse to that. And the European buildings, so it's kind of hot back again here. Yeah, I don't think that's too bad, is it? It's not horrendous. Definitely needs to be settled in a little bit more, but we'll leave them in. I think I'll keep them relatively small. I don't really want them to level up. So let's just historical the ones we have. Maybe we can afford a little bit more zoning around here as well. I guess it's going to make sense to fill that block, isn't it? Yeah, I like that. Yes, that's actually worked out very well. Big fan of that one. Wonderful. Let's continue our climb with the buildings. We have this one here, the Hotel Castle, which is quite a dominant number, isn't it? So I reckon this perched on a hill is absolutely what we have to do with this. So I'm going to pick out a slope here. And I'd like to push some of this land mass out to that one. And then let's grab this terrain height here. Push this back. We are starting to eat quite a bit into this ridge, so we'll probably change direction relatively soon. Give this a bit of a... So let's give this whole area a bit of a manscaping. We'll bring the forest back in once we know where the build's going to finish. So this road here, again, I want to try and keep it relatively organic looking. So let's do this one here. We'll send that road over that way and then bring it out this way as well. I reckon this should be a pretty tasty spot for Hotel Castle. So there's also a bunch of unique parks that come with the Snowfall maps. So we could do ski lodges around here as well, I'm sure. How about if we have a few of these on the way up? How do we feel about them? I mean, they're essentially Mountain Village assets, aren't they? They almost look like they're from the park. So I'll be happy with that, I think. The Hotel Castle looks wonderful there, doesn't it? Should you have a look at the nighttime views? Oh, isn't that isn't that wonderful? I do miss Noveria's kind of crisp nighttime borealis. Located entirely within my kitchen, of course. But look at that. Isn't it true? It's always a pleasure to be back in Noveria. I know we finished this series a little bit too soon. It only lasted for 6 months, but it is always a pleasure to come back every now and again in Noveria. I know a lot of fan favourites, Noob Yoke and Palavan and Orchid Bay, especially these days, but there's something quite unique about Noveria. Kind of hard to describe, I think, really. Cool, let's bring this one over here. We'll wrap this one around the hill. And it can look to climb up again. I don't want to get too close toward the ski resort. Although I suppose we could actually add another connection onto the ski resort road, because this one actually takes you up to multiple different stops. Then this one climbs all the way up the mountain, up to the final ski launch slope. We could add another road connection into that. I wouldn't be against it. Tremendous. Let's trim this one back a little bit. I want to try and maintain some natural looking cliff edges there. How are we doing there? That's pretty disgusting, isn't it? Let's try let's try do that one again. Let's find a more natural slope. It's still pretty steep, but I think you can expect something like that in Switzerland, can't you? Let's move on to the Hotel El Torino next time. There's a nice little spot for this one right in there. And then we'll grab the Hotel Garden. Really want to pack this out with relatively dense mountain vibes today. So let's have another one here. Would love some buildings kind of isolated up on the mountain roads themselves as well. Whereas we'll kind of focus the town centre around these European buildings we've got. Rannoch's Forest Brush should work pretty nicely here. It's all, it's all white, isn't it? It is all white. Let's see if we can add a boreal tree here. What are they actually called, the vanilla ones? Let's have a little look. Ones that do have some element of green on them, wild conifers they are. So we'll add a few wild conifers in. That should hopefully bring us some anyway. Doesn't seem to be really fitting them in, which is strange. Maybe because it's already a preset forest brush. I'm not sure. But yeah, I like seeing the little lodges tucked in amongst the trees there. Gonna be on board with that. Let's see what else we can do. We have plenty more buildings to get through here. The Hotel Hotel Alps is a wonderful corner building, isn't it? So we absolutely have to respect the corner. How about just in here? No. I think we have to bring it in on a corner, don't we? It was going to make a lot of sense. This building here is going to collide, which is fine. Let's find another spot to bring a road up. I'm not going to be against losing this little bit of European zone in here, so I think we'll just get rid. We will definitely have some more in before the episode finishes today. And then we'll snake this. Let's just do a little bit of terraforming here so we can get the Alp Hotel in properly. Not all the same level, just a much smoother gradient really is what I'm after. There we go, that should do. Then we'll feed this up to meet up with that road that we've just snaked up toward the top. And then let's grab the Hotel Alps and we'll have that one there. Has to be on a corner, that one, doesn't it? It really does. It's got a big open courtyard behind it as well. I love that one. Let's continue the density around here then while we're playing with it. The Hotel Madonna sits and fits. But we'll get that one in right next door as well. It's really starting to see that density come in now, aren't we? So let's carry on with the Hotel Monte, which will fit right next door. Yep, it will. Kind of a natural extension there, really, the Hotel Alps, isn't it? I would also love, again, as I mentioned earlier, some of the, I guess it's a healthcare building, isn't it? The sauna is what I'm looking for, yeah. I think this would definitely make a good tourist attraction for those visiting the Noveria mountain village today. So we'll have a sauna in there too. And then let's do... There was no schools with this pack, was there? No, I must be imagining that. I'm thinking of Africa in miniature. We then have the Hotel Mount, which actually looks like it'll sit there right at the entrance. Yeah, that's lovely. Then let's move on to our Hotel Pine, which I'd actually like to carry on bringing this road network out a little bit. Let's do that and then see if we can create a connection up to there. And then we'll have this one here. I think we'll bring in a little bit of grid. Let's go behind these assets. Not so much grid, just a bit more, I guess, rigid road structure is what I'm after. To create some blocks, really, is what I want. We then have the Hotel Wild, which will tuck in quite nicely next door. And then I like this one, but I think I want this facing out toward that icy lake. So if we can just tuck that back in, will you fit here? Slope a little bit too steep. Well, that's alright. We'll have it there instead, and then we'll pack out that steep slope with some forest. This is pretty insane terrain tearing here, so let's just rejig exactly how these roads climb up, shall we? Tell you what, let's actually remove that road entirely, and then we'll bring this where we wanted it. Yeah, just tucked in behind that layer there is pretty much what I'm after. And then we'll bring in this road again too. Let's do a little bit of slope terrain up here as well, shall we? There we go. Now we can feed it off. Always a challenge building with the terrain in CS1, isn't it? But we'll try and make it work. Fabulous. Wonderful news. We now have the Icewind Lodge, which is another wonderful little corner asset. So why don't we have you... Let's actually place you just a little bit off-road there. Wouldn't be against that one. And then we can pack in some more of those wonderful trees. The redwoods are pretty nice, actually, in the Snowfall theme. Actually interested to know, whilst we're back in Noveria, how many of you actually ended up building a full Snowfall city? Because I think it was a DLC I would have much preferred to have been a full seasons mechanic rather than permafrost. But yeah, I'd be interested to know if anyone actually ended up going on to build a full-on Snowfall build and how far you got into it. Do let me know if you did 9, 25 or 81 tiles on a Snowfall map. We then had the Lake Lodge, which I think, given the name, would be ideal to have down by the lake here, wouldn't it? So we fit here, very nearly. We can get you in there. And that makes sense to have that part of the actual ski hotel, won't it? Have the Lake Lodge here. Yeah, I like that. Got a bunch of fishing cabins out here as well. A little bit of a nature reserve development with the hunting cabins, which, speaking of them, would also blend in really nicely with the mountain village stuff, wouldn't it? Very nice. This pack's actually very compatible with a lot of existing assets if you've got some of the DLCs. This one here, why don't we try and play with this? What's going to happen with that? Maybe not there, but a little bit further over. Yeah, love the angle in this building. It's very cool. And if we can give them some tremendous mountain views, I would be on board with that. If we can just push out that terrain a little bit, just so it's not so severe. Yeah, on board with that. And then let's bring a little nature reserve pathway up this layer here. And pack this in with trees too. Get some cottonwood in. It's actually very cute. I'm a big fan of that. That's lovely. Love all the different angles and kind of shapes you get with the buildings on this pack. It's definitely one of the more unique packs, isn't it? Get a lot of buildings with it too. 30 uniques for a pack is a fair amount. On to the next one, we have Lodge and Restaurant, which I think is a building would definitely make sense in and around the town centre, wouldn't it? So let's stick that in there. And then I definitely want to bring more European zoning back in, so the spaces around this kind of inner courtyard will zone up a little bit. And then how about a touch of parking behind? Something like that. It's very janky there, isn't it? But will terraforming help? A little bit. It's very insane. I don't think there's a ton we can do about it. How do we feel about those buildings there? Not super keen on them there. I did prefer them in the more blocky format, I think. But we'll let it slide. We'll let it slide. We'll see what the detail in tile maps can do for it. We have the Mountain Inn up here as well. Gonna make sense to have this, I think, on the mountain, isn't it? And then we have the Mountain Plaza, which is a real kind of centerpiece building, isn't it? Where do we want this one? Have a little look what spaces we've got to play with. How about a little bit further up the hillside here? So I think I'll leave this cliff face in. Did mention I want to have some kind of gnarly cliffs as part of the village. And as we'll snake this mountain road up and around. Again, whilst we place the building, I'd rather it be on at least buildable terrain. And then if we set a nice straight piece here, can we get this kind of centralized on a design maybe? Let's give it a bit of a fancier tree road out front. Needed slightly longer depth there. Yeah, something like that. And then let's change that tree up to be cottonwood. I think because that's such a symmetrical building, it kind of really wants to be respected, I think, doesn't it? Which easily has one of the best views. Imagine walking out of here. Like, oh, what are we going to do today, honey? We're going to go skiing, catch... I think there's a bus over here, isn't there? Definitely no public transport to get out this way. We'll catch a bus back into Noveria City. Look at Peak 15 right the way side of the map. Spectacular viewpoint that one, isn't it? Oh, let's give the people staying at the Mountain Lodge some amenities. We'll give them another sauna. And you can also have one of the unique Snowfall parks as well. Let's do a ski lodge next door. Fantastic. Then we have the rear lodge. We'll resume down to our current buildings over this way. Again, it's a building I think would enjoy being on an angle. Let's grab a little dirt road. We'll connect you in there. Can we delete the road? Yes, we can indeed, and it will still maintain its connection, so I'm happy with that. Absolutely splendid. And then what else do we have here? We've got the Santa's Lodge, which I would like a bit more density around here. Let's see if we can pack some of these in. We've got the Snow Lodge too. Keep these all around this big bend. The Spring Resort is definitely a larger one, isn't it? So why don't we look to isolate this one? Let's also bring that road up into the ski slope road as well. There we go. And then maybe we can have one of these larger buildings tucked in by the entrance to the ski resort and amongst the cliffs there. Again, I think the view from the little rotunda on the back of this building probably wants to be respected, doesn't it? So we'll try and remove some tree linings for those. Very, very sweet. Now, how are we looking down from the mountain now? Or from the lake? Yeah, it's really cool, isn't it? Builds like this were pretty much impossible, I guess, unless you just spammed the ski lodges and log cabins from Park Life, but only really goes so far, doesn't it? Here we have the Spruce Lodge up next. How are we feeling? I think we're a little bit light for buildings this side, aren't we? So why don't we do that and then look to connect these roads in somewhere. And then trying to bring an end. Let's have a bit of a switchback number coming down here. And can we upgrade this? We can indeed. You happy with that? Let's do another larger hotel here. What's that one? That's a nice one, that, isn't it? The Sun Lodge. I think this is the biggest of them all, isn't it? Big, impressive number. And then we've also got the 2 Mountain Lodge as well, which is going to be our last unique building. So, where would I want to keep this all cliffside here, so we'll leave that there. And then let's maybe put something in there as well. So the Mountain Village pack also comes with a couple of parks which I'd like to use, in particular the mountain stage, which I think would be a really cool attraction for the village. So if we're going to grab a dirt road, they are parks, so they do need a road connection. You can't place them on pathways. Maybe kind of up here, overlooking the whole village and of course the rest of Noveria. I really want to play with the positioning here. So again, we'll just do a touch of terraforming. We will work all this back in so it looks a little bit more natural in the detail and time lapse. Let's take a bit of the forest away. So I want the mountain stage to be sat overlooking everything else. So let's grab mountain stage here. Yeah, so they have the view right there, perfectly framing the city skyline. That's exactly what I wanted. And then we'll also partner this with the mountain buffet, which I think we'll have on a slightly different road. Let's push this hill back a little bit more. Something to that extent. Grab our road. Let's come out the side of the stage here. We'll have the mountain buffet there, and then we can probably partner this quite nicely with the open air restaurant as well. So it's essentially a place to sit directly outside. Now, having seen that, I reckon I'd also like a building or a road to come down here. Let's just reposition these. Can we centralize the mountain buffet? Not quite. Need to be a little bit further over. Let's have that there. And then I want some of those restaurants out either side. So you can imagine maybe kind of the restaurant hosts events up here, dining experiences, etc. Come try Noveria's kind of slow-cooked bear, I suppose. Would be a nice thing to do out here, wouldn't it? We'll have that there. What else do we have up here? We have the picnic area, which I think we could have nearby to the restaurants. And then there's a whole bunch of props then. The only one we're missing is the gazebo park, which will fit in the middle. That was a little bit random there. Maybe have one there. And then we can also do this little lookout tower as well. And I think if we work some pathways in between these, we can just make a little bit of a kind of mountain top retreat. So there's music events up here and whatnot. And we can probably use some of these little tables and chairs around here as well. Bit of a picnic area during the day. Something to enjoy, I think. And possibly even from the park life stuff, actually, if we go into nature reserve. Yeah, some of the campfire sites, I think, would be tremendously welcome, wouldn't they? Up here. Get some other viewpoints. And nature reserve stuff will pair quite nicely with it. That should give us a really fun little spot to develop during the design time lapse, which feels like a good place for it. Now I've placed down every unique building and a bunch of the parks and some other hotel DLC stuff as well. So let's go ahead and fill in all these spaces with paths. We'll do some further prop work as well, and just see what we can do with an extremely unique build on the return to Noveria. And then also sort out a lot of this terraforming, just so it looks a lot more natural than it currently does. And then bring in some of the rocks that we deleted, plenty of nature reserve fencing as well, as we return to the first Noveria detailing time lapse for years. So let's detail up our mountain village, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, let's have a little review over our new mountain village, which has settled in tremendously well. I'm a huge fan of this aesthetic, the mountainous alpine lodge vibe. Just blends so perfectly with Snowfall, doesn't it? Down here, I've added in another lake lodge with a little bit of a terraformed peninsula coming out into the lake with some nature reserve fishing piers, rocks and trees. With multiple pathways, bit of parking around the back. It looks really good up as a lake lodge, doesn't it? Really like that building, one of my favourite assets from the pack. Extended the pathways up through here, and then as we come into the town, there's multiple paths linking back in here. A bit more European zoning on the main street. And then we've got pathways through here, some bush lining. With the plazas and promenade statue, which if you're wondering is completely frozen, as always, with every asset in these maps. But a nice little frontage outside one of the hotels. And then there's more European zoning dotted about here, which blends really nicely with the mountain village pack, doesn't it? I think you could certainly run with this whole theme for a particular build. I definitely recommend playing with a mod, either Game Anarchy or Find It and Move It, that allow you to place multiple of these buildings, because you can only use 30 of them. So definitely use that if you're on the PC, because it's a shame to only have one of them if you want to run kind of a map-wide build in this style, if you like. Over here, we have some more parks in around with saunas, ski lodges around the front. This building we placed off the angle and deleted the road, got a pathway up the front of it, with some more bush lining, which actually looks really cute up here, doesn't it? Really opens up the front of that building there, with people actually using the pathway immediately outside of it, which is very nice. More European zoning fits in here, and again, just kind of getting down to the street level. Really blends nice, doesn't it? The lodge and those big European commercials. There's residential in here as well. It's a very, very happy complement. Over toward this way, we separated the rotunda building out with its own car park and a little ski slope over here as well. Imagine maybe this could be kind of a way to practice skiing. Bit of a kind of tutorial slope, if you like. We can watch someone come down here. Ready for it? There we go. What a fun time. So you can practice here before you kind of head out onto the main ski resort, you know. I think that's a pretty cool vibe to tie in, isn't it? Bit of a training centre. And as we come through here, parking, this building has a tremendous view. Imagine if you were staying in one of these rooms in the rotunda, you can wake up to that view every morning. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Planes leaving the airport there as well. I love Noveria's skyline. Nice crawl up here, and then the Peak 15 is such an iconic build, isn't it? It's so unique. I don't think we've ever done kind of the quirky builds quite to the degree of Peak 15. Really nice. And then down here, pathways linking back with lots of trees packed in and amongst kind of the main village. With more pathways taking people up here as well. And the hotel's DLC Mountain Lodge works supremely well with it, doesn't it? Really nice. As would the Nature Reserve Museum as well. I couldn't really find a place to work it in organically here, but it absolutely does pair with it. So Hotel Lodge, very much at home. Well, the Mountain Lodge is very much at home. Expanded the road network up here. Sorted out the terraforming around the ridge of the mountain just to make it look a little bit more organic around what we built with it. And I love all the exposed kind of dark cliff face amongst the white as well. It really does help with the texture change. Heading up to our Mountain Plaza Lodge, we have some fencing up here with a little viewpoint. With again, people having pretty cool views, right? I absolutely love that. You can see all down across the little mountainous ski village here. Ski slope over there in the background. Really, really wonderful. Another great sightline to be had. Away from this, we have a pathway and some trees in around the side before we arrive finally up to the event space, where we have a bit of a rock wall here with some fencing. And there's the nature reserve fire gazebos, some of the props in here too. Dropped in some of the log storage from nature reserve as well, thought it'd be appropriate around here. And just a nice space to enjoy events that maybe the resort puts on, smaller concerts, shows, demonstrations or something like that. See people using these benches here, although he is facing the wrong way. You need to turn around, mate. You'll get the view. I'm not sure what he's looking at. Just, I suppose that's still a pretty nice view, isn't it? Up to Noveria's big peaks, and then more pathways, tree patterns around here, and the open air restaurant blending very nicely with the buffet. It's cool to kind of see people sat out here, dressed appropriately as well, of course, for the snowfall weather. Yeah, I really like the idea of an event space atop the hill here that the resort can host events that really boast tremendous views over the brand new Noveria mountain village, but otherwise we'll shut up and leave it there. Massive shout out to the patrons that support the channel, with a shout out to our golden eggs, Andrew Perez and O'Hakesino. If you like a little bit more egg content, podcasts, early access and previews are all over on the Patreon, and Instant Gaming is always the home of a wonderful deal. Should you wish to support the channel a bit further, all the links are down below if you're interested. This is a really cool content creator pack, the Mountain Village one from Thomas, and it's lent itself extremely well to Noveria, and I hope you have enjoyed our return to the snowy tundras of Noveria. I know a lot of you are big fans of this city, and it's fun to come back. Maybe we can come back again, not too distant future, do a plazas and promenades build maybe in the city centre. I think some pedestrianisation with some of the new skyscrapers might be a lot of fun to put into Noveria's very dense downtown. But let me know if you do want to see some revisits of our old faithfuls that we've built together over the years. Please do enjoy what I'm sure will be some wonderful cinematics with very, very nice nighttime views. Be sure to hang around to the end to catch the twilight views. But I'll shut up and leave it there. I'd like to thank you all so much indeed for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.